So you think that you're prepared for 2026. You've done the vision board, the prayer board. All of your goals are written down meticulously. But what if you're missing that one step that actually sets your year on fire? Something that intentionally invites God before you even begin all of your plans. The step I'm talking about is fasting. And yes, I'm inviting you on a 21-day fast with me, but please make sure you check with your doctor first. Now let's get into it. A few years ago, I was frustrated with God. It felt like every time I made progress, every time I took a step forward, for some reason, I would end up 2 steps back. I was praying, I was tithing, going to church, diving deep into his word, and I just felt like he wasn't there. I just felt like he couldn't hear me. I even started to question my faith. And then one day, the Holy Spirit just highlighted fasting for me, and that's when I decided to take a deep dive and try to understand what fasting really means. And let me tell you, it's not what most people think. So today we're going to talk about what fasting is and why implementing it before you finalize your New Year's resolution might be the one thing that sets your year apart. First off, fasting is not starving yourself. It's not a diet plan, it's not a weight loss plan, and it definitely should not be viewed as some extreme religious protocol that you need to do in order to get closer to God. For some reason, fasting for spiritual purposes has gained this bad reputation. It's almost viewed as you having to give something up for the word. But in reality, fasting is supposed to be an invitation for God. Like you're opening up yourself and you're telling him, I'm going to deny my flesh so that our spirits has the time and the space for us to communicate. It honestly surprises me how many people, believers and non-believers, are shocked when I tell them about my fasting experience. Because for me, it's never been about deprivation. It's always been about clarity and connection. The way I look at it is it's a physical practice that produces spiritual growth and results in physical fruit. Before Jesus started his plan to save humanity, and before he was able to fulfill God's will for his life, he fasted. So here's how this is going to apply to us as we step into our new year and let God rebrand us for 2026. If you've already completed your vision boards or your prayer boards and written down your goals, that's fine. During your fasting time, what you're going to do is you're going to present everything that you have given to God, because you're going to want to know if God has these things actually planned for your life. Are there some things that you're going to have to change, rearrange, add, or even remove from what you already have planned? Because there's nothing worse than pouring into something that God does not have planned for you. If you haven't started your 2026 rebrand, that's perfect. During this fasting time, that is really where you're going to seek for God's direction and clarity. If there's things on your heart and ideas that you're thinking of adding to it, check with God first. Ask him if this is something that he has planned for you, or if it's something that you may need to pivot. Regardless of where you're at, our main focus is to lean in and really listen for God's direction and guidance as we build out our prayer boards and our goals throughout our year. Okay, new day, new scenery, because when I finished filming this video and I went to edit it, I realized that I had deleted half of the video. I also realized that my microphone wasn't correctly put in, so here we are, back with it. So here's the thing, there's 3 types of different fasting that people usually talk about, and each one works a little bit differently, and choosing the right one could completely change how you step into the new year. The first type is partial fasting or time fasting. You might know it as intermittent fasting, but if you didn't know, it's actually a biblical concept. This is really good if it's your first time fasting, if you want to gain clarity without feeling super overwhelmed or a lot of pressure. So all it really means is you're going to eat within a specific time window. You might skip breakfast, you might skip dinner, or you might say to yourself, I'm not going to eat after a certain time. What you're going to do is you're going to replace the time that you would usually be eating to spend more time with God. I find this kind of fast really helps with mental clutter. You might find reading and understanding the word a little bit easier. It's also good because once you release that mental clutter, you'll be able to approach your goals with more focus and sound decision making. And I do this type of fast every single month for the first 3 days. As a mom and all the things that I have to do around the house, I always feel like I have a lot of open tabs in my brain. And I find when I do this at the beginning of the month, it's a really good reset. Whatever I have going on in the month before that hasn't been cleared up, or what I'm looking for in the month going ahead, where I really need God to kind of help me get through, I'm able to present that to him the first of the month. And I just feel like I'm able to handle things throughout the month a lot more smoother. The second type of fast is the Daniel fast, and it's 21 days long. And it's really good if you're looking for for a deeper, longer connection with God. I believe you can find the story, I think in Daniel 8 or Daniel 9. And once you read it, you'll be able to have like an understanding of why he was fasting and what was actually happening, what led to this 21-day fast. But it's also a really common one in the Christian community. And here's the thing, this kind of fast can really trigger a breakthrough because it's more than just skipping a meal, but it's really intentionally changing the way a lot of us eat, especially in North America. And it's kind of like a mini sacrifice because it's a little bit longer, where we're just opening up to God so that he can do his work in our lives, which is exactly when clarity and guidance show up, which is perfect timing for the new year. If you ever heard about it or you're really interested in it, let me know. I usually do this type of fast with my mom once a year. It's a plant-based diet where there's very specific things that you're allowed to eat. So you can have bread, but it's not allowed to have yeast in it. You can have rice and flour, but it needs to be unprocessed. So brown rice, brown flour. You're not allowed to have any refined sugars, no caffeine. It's very, very specific. I'll actually list a guide on the screen and you can take a screenshot or a picture of it so that you can kind of see if that's something you want to do. So I do this fast once a year with my mom, and then I do a corporate fast with a few of my girlfriends, and a lot of them choose to do the Daniel fast. So I have tons of recipes that I've learned along the way that I find are my staples or my go-tos when I'm doing the Daniel fast. So let me know down in the comments, and I can always do a video sharing all the recipes and the things that I do so that I'm able to sustain the 21 days, because it is quite a long time. And I know it can be a little bit hard at the beginning because I know it's such a long time to kind of overhaul your complete diet, but I'm always willing to do a video or share the recipe. Just let me know down in the comments if that's something you're interested in and I will do it. By the way, if you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, now is the time to subscribe to it, because in 2026 we are letting God rebrand our life. But in the past, I've always found that this is the kind of fast that gives me complete clarity to unanswered prayers. If you've read the story, you can see why, but I find this kind of fast really pushes me into a heart check, because sometimes the things that we ask for are not aligned with God's will. So just checking your heart, checking where this prayer is coming from, and if there's any barriers to it, is there something that you may need to change after the 21 days? If I've been praying for something and it hasn't been answered, I usually have some sort of revelation on next steps. It may not be the right time and it may not be what he's asking me to do. You know, sometimes we get good ideas and we think it's from him, but really it's just not what he has planned for us, and that's okay. Okay, so that's the part that was deleted, and I'll see you back in the next video. I'm so sorry about the audio. Okay, now this one is the most intense, but also the most spiritually focused. It's for seasons where you really need to hear God's voice clearly, like the new year, or before you're making some really big decisions. And that's why it's my preference to do it at the beginning of the new year. So it's a water fast or a clear liquid fast where you're only drinking clear fluids for an extended amount of time. Usually you can include herbal or non-caffeinated teas, and sometimes I add electrolytes into my water because I do it for an extended period of time. These fasts is when I hear God the loudest and my discernment is the clearest. So that's why I find it important when I'm making plans for my life, making plans for my family, or before I make any really big decisions. It's really important that I'm being guided correctly. I just find it's something that puts me in a position that planning and prayer just can't do by itself. And I'm gonna be honest, there's been a few times where I go in there expecting a really massive breakthrough, and I end up with a character change that God is calling me to do, because those things need to be done in order for God to bring me where he wants me to go. I usually find those small instructions usually shift everything for me. I'll share my most life-changing experience that I've gone through during a water fast a little bit later, but it's something that you really need to think about, and you really need to know that you are able to carry on a water fast. So once again, please check with your medical professional before you even think of diving into something like that. Okay, so I know that this can all sound really intimidating, so I want to make it simple and doable for you to do, because I want our 2026 to be an ultimate rebrand, but with our heart in the right place and God right by our side doing it with us. So here's how you're going to do it. You're going to pick your fast, whether it be partial, Daniel fast, water fast, And you're going to pick the amount of time that you're going to be doing this fast. The second thing you're going to do is set your intention. You're going to decide what you're focusing on and why. And remember, it's about creating space from God and not about starvation or deprivation or lack thereof. And if you've already completed all of your goals and your vision boards, you're going to present them to Him daily. And if you have not, you're going to write down the things you're expecting to hear from God or any sort of challenge that you need His help in, that you would like to see some sort of result by the end of the fast. Third thing you're going to do is you're going to plan your time. I'm doing 21 days and I would love for you to join me, but if 21 days is just something that you're unable to sustain, just pick an amount of time. 1 day, 3 days, 5 days, 7 days, it does not matter. What matters is that you're being intentional of just giving God some of your time. To keep it nice and easy, if you're new to it, just pick a meal to skip or a snack to skip. Pick something, replace that mealtime with His word or a specific prayer or a specific verse that you want to sow inside your heart. And if you want to join me, I will definitely be fasting the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd of every month, so we can do that together as well. And last, and the main point, is we're going to stay connected to God. You're going to pray, you're going to journal, you're going to read faith-based books, you're going to write down every single thing that you hear, voice note it. I don't care what you do, but you just need to make sure you record it. And one thing that I do want you to watch out for is taking the time to listen as well. We do a lot of praying, we do a lot of talking, and sometimes we don't do a lot of listening. So if you can find 5 minutes, 10 minutes before you go to work, when you get home, before you go to bed, to just sit in stillness and let God speak to you as well. And if you want to check out some other ways to grow your faith and get closer to God, don't forget to check out this video right here. Now I wanted to share my experience with my very first water fast because it's something that is so dear to me, and I share this with any believer that I can. I was at a point in my life where I just felt like God was not there. I was in church, I was praying, I was reading the Bible, I was tithing, I felt like I was searching for Him and I was hearing nothing. So one day I just happened to come across a sermon and fasting came up, and it was like this massive light bulb. I knew fasting. I've fasted many times in my 20s. I've done Esther fast, water fast, Daniel fast. I just had gone into a very long season where I wasn't fasting. And when I returned to Christ and I was doing all of those things, I wasn't fasting and I didn't think about it. So once that was highlighted to me, I kind of started doing a little bit more research, refreshing my mind on what fasting truly is, and I decided that I was setting out on a 21-day water fast. I was like, God is gonna hear me because this is all I have left. All I have left is to deny myself, my whole body, and God's gonna hear me. And on day 9, I finished my prayer. I sat down to journal because I made space and time to hear God's word, and that's just whatever comes to mind. I don't even think I wrote this down, but it was clear as day. The voice said, how can I bless you when you're living in sin? And immediately I knew exactly what the Spirit was talking about. I think I felt my jaw drop, but I remember just walking down the stairs. I didn't speak to anybody. I went straight to the grocery store and I grabbed a soup to break my fast. And it's because my now husband, but my husband and I, we weren't married. We had 2 kids together, we lived together, we were together for like 14 years at this point, and we didn't get married, and that is what he was talking about. Now, please remember, this was my conviction. This does not have to be your conviction, and the reason why I'm saying that is because I really believe the Spirit meets you where you are and convicts you when you need to be convicted. I had never had any thoughts towards the fact that we were unmarried back then, but this was very clear. And to be honest, I didn't even get married right away. It took me another 1.5 years, I think, to get married, and that's because I was still struggling with worldly view of marriage and biblical view of marriage. I still wanted that big wedding and all my family there and all of these things, but at the same time, God was like, I just want your covenant. You want me to do things, but I can't because you're not in a proper covenant. And if I do this for you, then I have to do it for everybody, and that would not make me a just God. So with that said, I immediately repented. I started looking into more of like what biblical marriage was, and I really took some time to like seek the truth out for myself. But I can say that that didn't mean God didn't bless me in any other way. There is many blessings that came from that one fast. But the main one I'm gonna say is that I really dove deep into fasting and got an understanding of what it meant, and now it's a monthly practice for me. It's a monthly practice because I want that time with God, and I realize how much we are codependent on each other. And that's just my little testimony, and if it touches you, let me know. If you have any other questions, please let me know, because the goal of this video and the goal of it all is just that we are all able to lean on each other and just come together as one body of Christ. And that is why I'm even doing this. If you want to join me on this fast, let me know. I'll be so happy to have you. Don't forget to check out my other video, and I'll see you next time.